Oh hey, and welcome back to my channel all about children's behaviour, mental health and wellbeing. In this week's video we're going to be looking at our children's listening skills, and I'll be explaining why our children don't hear us and how we actually get them to listen to what we're saying. We've all been there. You've asked them 6 times to put their shoes on and they're still dancing around the hallway without a care in the world about how late you're all going to be. It's frustrating, it's stressful, and actually it's really normal. So why don't our children listen? Well, there are all sorts of reasons why a child might not listen. They could be distracted, maybe they're tired, hungry, or dehydrated. Perhaps they've zoned out, or maybe they're just too busy with whatever they're doing. Yes, it's frustrating when we tell or ask our children things just for it to be ignored, but there will always be a reason, even if that reason is simply that they don't want to hear what we are saying. You know, tactical ignoring. But there is another big reason why they might not listen. Research shows it can take the average person up to 10 to 15 seconds to process new information. I won't bore you by timing that right now, but 15 seconds is enough time to message your friend or apply your lashes. And this research is based on the average person, not a child. Sometimes the reason a child doesn't listen is because they don't understand, or they haven't had enough time to process what we're actually saying. And there are all sorts of reasons why children don't listen, but where possible we should be looking at why they're not listening and thinking about what doesn't work before we do anything else. And hopefully this video will help you with that. So the first thing, nagging actually makes their listening worse. When we nag our children, just shut off to what we're saying, it means they don't listen when we really need them to, and then their behaviour issues can escalate as everyone becomes more frustrated by the situation. For example, if we pick up on every tiny thing they've done all day, from them spilling their drink to not walking to school fast enough, by the time we really need them to listen, they're done. If we really want our children to listen, we need to pick our battles and pick our words really carefully. And a lot of getting them to listen is about the way that we say it. We must keep it simple. Instead of, you can watch the TV but not for long, and put the toys away first and make sure all of the toys are in the right place because it's always really messy in here. Try just saying, when the toys are away, then we can watch TV. Keep it simple. While we're on the topic of what doesn't work, toddlers hear the word no more than 400 times a day. Now, taking into account the hours that they're asleep, some children might be hearing the word no once a minute. I mean, is it a problem? After all, the word no is just a regular part of life that us adults have come to accept, isn't it? But this does raise an interesting point. How often are we using the word no with all of our children? No throwing. No shouting, please. No thank you, we don't do that. No, we don't jump on the furniture. If we use any word too much, our children will tune out. But this is especially true for no. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your child is actively ignoring you? It happens much more often when we say no rather than when we say yes, doesn't it? And this doesn't mean that you have to say yes to everything, but we need to try and save the word no for when we really need to use it, because this way it becomes a much more powerful word and our children are more likely to be alerted to it. Because really, children want to know what's going to happen next when we say no. Maybe we'll change our mind. Maybe we'll change our voice. Maybe something exciting will happen. What's going to happen? They want to test that. So there are some alternatives. We can give closed choices rather than, no, you can't wear that jumper. Try saying, or would you like to wear the cardigan or the t-shirt? Similarly, would you like the water or milk is much more effective than no squash. So, how do we actually get them to listen? Now, this is where we really need to consider how we say these things to our children, especially if we want them to listen the first time we say it. Now, I'm going to go through 10 ways to be heard. Feel free to pause the video because it's a lot. So number 1 is getting on their level, using their name and ensuring that we have their attention. Number 2, be clear. Think about their age. How old are they? We don't need to be waffling on shorten out our speech. You would tune out if I continued to go on and on for hours, wouldn't you? Number 3 is being consistent. Don't tell them, right, we're going home if you don't listen, when you all know you're not, because meaningless threats will be ignored. Number 4, try to lose the word don't, because they just don't hear it. If I said to you, don't blink, all of your efforts are now going into keeping your eyes open rather than listening to what I'm saying. Number 5, check their understanding before you move on. It's really frustrating when our children don't listen. Or is it that they haven't understood what we're asking of them? Number 6, again, giving them choices. Socks need to go on. Would you like to do it yourself or have me help you? This way the socks will go on eventually, but they still have some choice over how they do it. Number 7 is to say thank you and assume compliance. This encourages the wanted behaviour. It shows that you trust them and it sets high and positive expectations. Number 8, see it from their point of view. Keep in mind how little children actually get the final say on. Number 9, pick your battles. Is this something you could say yes to, or is it a non-negotiable? And then number 10 is to stay calm. Your child isn't trying to upset you, but if you are feeling frustrated with their listening, I have an ebook filled with sentence swaps for all sorts of occasions, so you don't need to enter into battle with your child every time you need to be heard. Now, this video has been a really quick introduction into children's listening, and we have barely scratched the surface. If you feel like your child isn't listening or that they are just doing things to push your buttons, then my mini module, If You Do That Again, would be perfect for you. This listening and behaviour masterclass covers how to create an environment where your child can and does behave more often. We'll look at why your child's behaviour is their way of communicating and how we can tap into that as adults. I'll teach you what to do when they're just not listening, and you'll also learn about physical behaviour, anger and sibling relationships too. Plus, I'll give you all the strategies you need for getting them to listen more and for getting them to behave better. I have shared a link to this and a discount code in the description of this video. Also in the description you'll find other videos that you might like, as well as links to some freebies that might be useful for you, so definitely have a look. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. This way you won't miss any of the videos, as there's a new one every Friday. If you've got any questions at all, please pop them in the comments. Feel free to watch this video again. I know it was quick, and I'll see you next week.